Emphasis in Duke's practice today. Appleby, the transfer from Florida, he's been around in ACC plays, averaging 7 assists per game. About 1 assist less than that, or fewer than that overall this year, but about 18 points as well. Just about ready to tip it up. Our officials, Ron Groover, Jeffrey Anderson, and John Gaffney, they're underway, and Duke will control it first with the freshman from Australia, Tyrese Proctor, with the ball. Man-to-man defense from Wake Forest. There is Filipowski. We mentioned him. He has played extraordinary basketball. Blue Devils again tonight, Debbie, without Tyree Whitehead. Fabulous freshman who's battled injuries all year long. Another freshman, Derek Lively, misses the first 3.
Duke gets multiple size in their offense, and they've got to find Filipowski early. He's got the smaller Monsanto on him inside.
Damari Monsanto is a shooter that is fearless as Cam Hildreth left his man in the dust and got the easy layup in the first bucket of the night. Blue Devils going with Jeremy Roach at the point guard, and outside of that, the 4 freshmen. Mitchell has been a strong player. Lively is a shot blocker. Lively did not play in the first meeting between the two. Lively, a little contact inside. And the call is going to be against Wake Forest, and Cameron Hildreth draws his first personal foul. Wake Forest is on a 3-game losing slide, lost a couple of close ones behind Steve Forbes in his 3rd year at Wake Forest. Has done an outstanding job. And 3-ball on the way, and it's good from Jeremy Roach.
One of the reasons why Wake Forest has elected to go small early is for this right here, to drive to the paint and try to score off Duke's defense.
Roach not hesitating. Offensive rebound, put back by Lively.
And there's the problem with the small lineup. It's Duke on the glass, the top rebounding team and the best offensive rebounding team in the ACC.
And you know, Debbie, in the first meeting, Wake Forest out-rebounded them. In fact, in terms of rebound margin, it was Duke's 2nd poorest rebounding performance of the season. Only Purdue out-rebounded Duke by more than Wake Forest did. Hildreth, that's not really his game to step back 3, and it's an air ball, and here come the Blue Devils.
I believe Lively got a piece of that.
Lively again, and he draws contact. He'll go to the free throw line.
That's one 7-footer passing to another inside. This is the offensive rebounding by Duke. They offensive rebound almost 39% of their misses. That is a very high offensive rebounding percentage. There's a lot that comes with that too. As you see the starting lineup average size, Reese. A lot that comes with that offensive rebounding. They take shots in their offense that they know they're going to take, and they have a lot of long athletic that can rebound out of their area.
Just over 2 minutes into the game, Cameron Hildreth, who had the first bucket for Wake Forest, also has 2 fouls, and Forbes will put him on the bench. He'll be replaced by the freshman from Sweden, Bobby Klintman, number 34. He's the guy that Forbes was telling us today that Wake Forest is going to make a run. They could really use some production out of him. He's got a little more size, has some experience playing for the Swedish national team as he rounds into form as a collegian in the States. This is Andrew Carr, another transfer who's a good shooter from the perimeter. So too is Appleby, and Appleby rims out. Mitchell going to drive it, uses that big body, but it's knocked away by Monsanto. Williamson lost his footing and the basketball. Turnover, Wake Forest. Roach.
Really good decision making.
An 8-0 run from the Blue Devils, and Roach has 5 of the Blue Devils' 8 points.
You can see why Roach is so valuable to organizing them, playing in pace, playing with decision making at a high rate of speed.
Andrew Carr with the 3.
So this is the 5-out offense for Steve Forbes, trying to pull Lively away from the bucket, trying to make him guard on the perimeter. The top shot blocker in the second best shot blocker in the ACC.
There's Forbes trying to hold his own on the boards tonight. And hoping to get enough from his perimeter shooters. You see what he's been able to do in his third season. They have lost their last 3, but the last 2 losses by combined 4 points. They lost to NC State on Saturday behind just a brilliant performance from DJ Burns, who had 31 and really had his way inside against that Demon Deacon defense.
You know, they elected not to double. DJ was able to be crafty and creative on the inside. And NC State with a 2-point win survived Terquavion Smith being in foul trouble most of the game.
Subject of fouls. That last one was called on Lively, his first. Monsanto lets it fly. We'll say that many times tonight. Damari is a guy after my own heart. He has zero conscience when it comes to shooting the basketball. He's a 41% shooter from downtown.
We love watching him play, right? I mean, he's going to fire from all over the place, but the important thing for Duke is to make him make shots, moving his feet, dribbling the basketball. Don't let him catch and shoot.
He almost won this thing from 75 feet when the Demon Deacons were in here last year, the game that you and I called. He threw one from one end of the court to the other in a 2-point game and had to hit the back of the iron. Fun player to watch. Also, he's coming off an Achilles injury. Really didn't expect him to play last year and had his weight up last year. He's down about 25 pounds and it's really improved his play this year. The end of the shot clock, Waite gets a block. Cars hit one, he'll try another. Off the top, and it'll be Duke basketball. And off to a quick start, expecting an up and down game here tonight. Blue Devils with an early 3-point lead. ESPN's exclusive State last night blowing a 23-point lead in the last 12 or 13 minutes. Gets a lot easier with Kansas coming to town. Auburn and Tennessee will follow up. The Volunteers under Rick Barnes now up to number 2. Zach Edey and Boiler up at Indiana. Florida and Kentucky at 8:30, and conspicuous by its absence, the 6:30 game. North Carolina and Duke, rare meeting between the two when they were unranked. David, you're in practice today. John Shire in his first year as a head coach, but he's been around Duke forever. A long-time Mike Krzyzewski assistant, played here for 4 years. And I asked him about the danger of knowing Carolina's on the horizon, whether you can come out flat. And he said it was a real thing.
Except for these guys are so young. They don't really know what they don't know. They don't know what's coming up this weekend. They're just trying to focus on what they have right here to deal with, and that's Wake Forest. So those that thought this might be a trap game, you can forget about that, because John made it clear to us that that would not be the case.
Well, the thing that helps, too, is that Wake Forest beat them, and Winston-Salem earlier as Filipowski puts one in the basket. So it felt like they owed Wake Forest a little business on the boards, particularly, not to mention getting a victory. Duke's alternated wins and losses over its last 5. We mentioned the Deacs on a 3-game losing streak, so both teams really in need of a victory here. Blue Devils have yet to lose the ACC play on Coach K court. Williamson getting in the paint.
And coming off that timeout, Wake Forest stays with a small lineup. Carr at the 5.
Hildreth already on the bench with 2 quick fouls. There's Filipowski, bounce pass to Lively, another bounce pass. And great defense by Wake Forest to recover and keep Mitchell from getting that shot up.
Don't be surprised to see Duke continue to try to score in the paint right here, to use that size.
Proctor with a pull-up. His first bucket.
You know, he had 8 assists and no turnovers against Georgia Tech. You can see the growth in that young man inside the Duke system.
43-point win against the struggling Yellow Jackets on Saturday. Monsanto for 3.
I mean, you got to really close the space on Monsanto so quickly into the rhythm of his shot. That's why you got to make him dribble. If you let him catch and shoot, his percentage of scoring goes up.
With the first 3 ball on the board of the night, he had 3 of them in the first meeting. Scored 22 on Saturday in that losing effort against the Wolfpack. Here's Roach, high handoff, excellent read by Carr to step in there and not only get the steal, but draw the foul on Lively as well.
Watch how quickly Monsanto gets his feet set. It is 1-2 quickly into his catch-and-shoot three.
Second turnover leads to the second foul on Lively, which brings Ryan Young, graduate transfer from Northwestern, into the game. And there is Monsanto over his last 6 games as he's getting a quick rest. Has really shot the ball at a torrid pace. I think Matthew Marsh is into the game for Wake Forest, and right on cue, the big fella from England draws a foul.
You have to be stationary in that dribble handoff.
They seem to be calling that a lot more. It's been perhaps a point of emphasis.
Well, I think you have to call it, otherwise it's a huge advantage to the offense.
Far be it from the rules or the officials to give the advantage to the offense. We want to see some offensive fouls called. He said sarcastically. Young misses. Marsh fights for it, and now I think they're going to get Young on the reach. That's his first. So the Duke big men have drawn 3 fouls in just under 7 minutes of play here. Also into the game is Jalen Blake, number 2 for the Blue Devils, wearing that mask. Broke his nose in practice a couple of weeks ago. Here's Appleby. Turning the corner, floating, creating, gets his own. It didn't hit the rim. They're going to have to get it back up. Clinton knew all about it, and Bobby Klintman knocks down the 3.
That's that production that you're talking about, Reese. Klintman has to be ready to score. Coach Forbes wants him ready to score. Catch and think, shoot.
Even Deacons have hit 3 from beyond the arc in the opening moments. And the bulk of their offense. Roach tangled up with Appleby, perhaps either that or has spent some time in theater class. As Appleby's first foul.
Well, you want to contest the jump shooter. You definitely don't want to foul. And Appleby knows his big is in drop coverage, so he's got to just contest him. Try not to let him turn the corner.
Jeremy Roach, the team captain, a 76% free throw shooter. Misses the first. You look at John Shire in his first season as the Blue Devil head coach. Had a lot of close games. Filipowski's played very well for him. Put his own mark on the staff, bringing in someone from outside the Duke family to be on his staff. Jay Lucas, who we visited with earlier today, too. Veteran assistant coach coming over from Kentucky. So Shire, highly competitive, energetic guy, stepping into gargantuan shoes, obviously. A place he's very comfortable with. Hildreth back in the game, playing with the 2 fouls. And he's going to drive Filipowski. There's an example of Hildreth playing off 2 feet like you've talked about.
You got to play on balance. When you get in the paint, the shot blockers are lurking. You got to be ready to make a play to your teammates.
Before tip-off tonight in Cameron Indoor, a moment of silence for the legendary Billy Packer, guard at Wake Forest, who took the Demon Deacons to the Final Four in 1962, but made his greatest impact on the game as the voice of college basketball. He called 34 consecutive Final Fours, not only working for CBS, but also regionally here, where basically he was ACC basketball as it pertains to broadcasting and television. Steve Forbes grew up in Iowa, wasn't necessarily always familiar with all of the nuances of ACC basketball, the traditions, but he knew Billy Packer. And when he got the Wake Forest job, Steve went on the radio show with our friend and colleague Mark Packer, who's Billy's son, only Steve didn't know it at the time. And Steve said that he blamed Billy Packer for getting his first technical foul, as you see Marsh with another high percentage shot, which is what he does. But even watching a game that Billy was broadcasting when Indiana was playing, Bob Knight was coaching, and Billy talked about how Coach Knight was really working those officials, and that would pay off later in the game and get him some calls. So he was a junior college coach, 24 years old. He said, hey, that's a good idea. I'll work the officials tomorrow night. So he goes out, starts working the officials, and about a minute into the game gets banged with a tee and decided maybe that doesn't work for everybody. But he said he blamed Billy for that, and he didn't realize at the time that Mark was Billy's son.
Such a great story. I can tell you, for growing up in this area, that I learned a lot about basketball listening to Billy, Packer and Thacker, Bones McKinney, Marty Brenneman, Jefferson Pilot, broadcast of ACC basketball.
How about that play from Klentman to slow down the Duke fast break? Just a deflection. That's why coaches chart those deflections. Slowed Duke, but didn't slow Filipowski from getting into the paint. Filipowski was held to single digits in the first meeting against the Demon Deacons. One of only 2 times that's happened this year.
And Appleby has not scored in the game yet, so I'm waiting for them to call his number. See if he can get something here on a ball reversal. Out of bounds, I believe.
Now, off the turnover there, third, he saw Jacob Grandison, number 13's into the game for Duke. He's a graduate transfer from Illinois. He was the one charged with watching the sharp-shooting Monsanto.
So I wasn't sure this might happen in the game, but Duke has countered with a smaller lineup as well. Wake Forest has made them play a little bit smaller. Let's see if that neutralizes them on the glass a little bit.
Here's what, they were even on the glass at the last media timeout, so that's a plus for Wake Forest. To check in Duke's column is that Appleby had yet to score, nor had he gone to the free throw line. Both points of emphasis. 3-point shooting and getting that going is something Duke would like to do. Proctor misses. Young gives Roach another chance, and he's got his second 3 ball.
I always think that offensive rebound kick out to the 3 is a momentum builder for the team.
Appleby just lost it, but chases it down. Now working off the Marsh screen, the floater and the foul. And good thing I got that note in about him not being going to the free throw line or scoring.
You know what, Reese? I mean, he has an incredible change of pace and acceleration, especially coming off screening action. Here's the offensive rebound, the kick for the 3. Roach is second, and then watch Appleby. He comes right off that Marsh screen to the elbow. Wake Forest likes to play through those elbows, through the slot areas. This might help him see a big basket and get going.
It might be a little counterintuitive, but Duke wants to make him a scorer tonight, right, as opposed to the passer.
Right, he's 3rd in the league in scoring. They want to make him a scorer. When he gets in the paint, they think he goes into the paint to make a play. If they can keep him out of the paint and make him make shots outside the paint, that's part of their game plan tonight.
Young to Proctor, and an offensive foul. Hildreth playing fearlessly, playing with 2 fouls and getting in Proctor's path, getting his position and drawing the offensive foul.
Isn't fearless kind of Cameron Hildreth's middle name? I mean, this is a tough dude right here. He plays hard, and you got to referee the defense there. And I'm not sure that he had position.
I don't think he did. I was going to say in watching the replay, fearless is one way to say it. Maybe desperately trying to catch up is another. Here's Appleby getting by Roach, now fading, and it won't go. Proctor for the Blue Devils.
Boy, Wake doing a good job of getting back.
Klentman, those active hands again. Another deflection, this time is steal. Appleby corner 3. And Wake Forest takes the lead, 19-18. Appleby's got 6.
That's the race to space. Sprint, run hard, score quickly in your offense before Duke can get set, and take advantage of your ball screen offense.
We're going to get Andrew Carr for a hold. That's his first.
I mean, watch this right here. Head up immediately, and watch the sprint by Appleby to the deep corner. He is ready to catch and shoot. He knows that ball's going up before it gets in his hands, and he gets his feet organized.
6'10" Klentman with really good feel and timing on that pass, too. Monsanto has it taken away from him by Granderson. Good hustle. The Illinois transfer, and there's Appleby with the steal and the flush. Appleby has scored 8 in a row. Wake Forest is back on top, and Duke would like to visit about the most recent turn of events. Tyree Appleby with 8. Demon Deacs on the road up 3. There's a knack and a beauty to being able to just settle into a game. Tyree Appleby put up big numbers all year this year, and this 8-0 run is courtesy of the veteran guard.
You can see why Wake Forest leads the ACC in scoring at 78 points a game. He has the ability to play with incredible quickness and explosion at the same time.
Filipowski. Now Roach, floater, and nice soft touch from Jeremy Roach. He's into double figures with 11.
Jeremy Roach will definitely be up for the challenge right here to try to slow down Appleby.
See if Roach wanted to, he was feeling it. Proctor instead.
That's why sprinting the floor hard every possession is so important, because it opens up space on the top of the floor, and that's exactly where Proctor was trailing in that transition.
I've gotten a little glimpse from the crazies of the Australian flag, which is just next to the baby, which finds its way amongst the crazies every Duke home game. Quentman, his second 3 of the night. Boy, he's really provided a lift off the bench on both ends of the floor.
His minutes are going to keep going up if he plays like that. He's only averages 16 minutes a game.
Lively has returned for the Blue Devils, playing with 2, and they will call the travel. I was waiting to see as our officials talked it over whether they were going to call the foul, but instead they called it travel, and it's a turnover. Getting business done from beyond the arc. He adds this to his game, and Proctor is going to be a major problem. And Quentman has been playing extraordinarily well and nearly going for the Deacons. They're up 1.
You come out there with a win, especially when you lost 3 in a row, and now they've got another tough game coming up. Iowa State has lost 3 out of 4. They needed to get things right.
Yeah. Kansas State tonight. Oh, what a job Jerome Tang has done in his first year in Manhattan. Meanwhile, Wake Forest has hit 7 of their last 11 shots, make it 7 of 12. Filipowski clears it away for Duke.
Proctor's development has allowed Roach to get off the ball a little bit more.
Grandison was closed out by Monsanto to keep him from pulling the trigger. Now Lively, size advantage on Carr. Andrew will be called for his second foul.
Duke hasn't gone to much of a post-up game here tonight. I think they like the empty block, the cutting, and trying to get some stuff going through the paint, through the elbows. Very much a motion game.
Lively with the soft touch. Hasn't shot a lot of free throws this year. He's been an average free throw shooter.
Well, he's definitely a great rim protector, and they like to keep him in the paint. Number 2 in the ACC in block shots.
I think from watching him in practice today and then just then, as he gets more attempts, gets healthier, he's in early part of the season, dealt with some things. He's a good shooter. He's got really nice touch. We saw him out doing early work before practice today, and then Lively had a ball deflect right off his noggin after the whistle blew.
I think you know Lively's a great defender, right? He's very good in ball screen coverage. He can play in the drop coverage. He can guard on the perimeter. He's got incredible length. He's got great timing on the defensive end. That is the part of his game that will continue to improve. I don't think his percentages are really good right now, but I agree with what you're saying. Watching him in workouts today, he was really working on extending his range.
Maybe that last foul was on Proctor. It's his second. Monsanto ties it. Another guy that could give Duke a lift in perimeter shooting has checked into the game. The freshman Jaden Shute from Yorkville, Illinois, number 14. Monsanto makes both of them, and Wake Forest back on top by a single. Really entertaining first half in the early going. Duke and Wake Forest, Reese Davis, Debbie Antonelli, Cameron Indoor Stadium. Wake trying to snap a 3-game slide and win in this building for the first time since Tim Duncan was their star in 1997. Here's Filipowski, and he lost it on the way to the basket. And the foul is going to be called on Bobby Quentman.
How about that ball fake? And he's going straight to the rack. What incredible footwork, what skill. Filipowski leads this team in scoring and rebounding.
Filipowski has 10 double-doubles on the season. I mentioned right off the top of the telecast, 7 times he's been ACC Rookie of the Week. And numbers like this, not only in the ACC, but in the nation, you see just why he has been everything they could have hoped for.
Shoots the 3, he runs in transition, he's excellent in their ball screen offense. He's a good cutter as well for a 7-foot guy. Most 7-footers can't cut from the perimeter into the basket. And then exit cut and get your footwork squared away so you can knock down shots. He can do all of that at 7 feet.
Not sure exactly what all they were straightening out, but they finally give the ball to Kyle for his second free throw, and maybe they iced him a little bit. 26 all inside 6 minutes to play in the first half. Free ball on the way. Mitchell clears it away for the Blue Devils. Here comes Jeremy Roach. Roach into double figures in the first half. He's provided the spark, the Blue Devil captain. Roach again. He's got 13.
This is a slight thing, but I think it's a really important adjustment. John Shire moving Roach from the top of the floor over to the wing. I think he's an excellent decision maker, and he can make plays because he can play on one side, not have to play in the middle of the floor where there's help.
Davion Bradford's in the game, goes in such a giant screen for Appleby, who finds Williamson left it short. Mitchell's been very active on the boards. Physical presence, taking it himself. Now leaves it with Roach, he'll pull up again. The ball was knocked away, but it will go to Wake Forest, and the captain's doing work.
Look, on the 2-man side, you can see the little screen and then get to the elbow and pull up jump shot. He's probably done that a million times.
Appleby blows right by Roach and scores to tie it. He's into double figures with 10. He's already doubled his field goal output from the first meeting. 13 and 14 free throws in that first meeting. Duke's kept him off the line all except one time, but he's gotten his points elsewhere, and Filipowski's going to go back to the free throw line. How about this blow-by from Tyree Appleby?
I mean, here comes the change of pace, right? Right at the hip. High off the glass.
You talked to him today about playing in Steve Forbes' system as opposed to some of the other systems he's played. It's his third stop in college, most recently at Florida.
Freedom. Freedom to play. Freedom to make plays. Coach Forbes really trusts him. You know, he brings great joy to the game, is what we were told. Everybody wants to play with a guy like that, right? He's unselfish. He can score. He can make plays. He can make a play for you.
Even in their offseason trip, Steve was telling us how the players sort of gravitated to him. It was obvious he was going to assume a leadership role in short order, and he's done that. Filipowski now has 7. Duke has a 2-point lead, headed toward the 4-minute mark in the first half. Appleby pull up again. That one's no good, and I think they're going to get Tyree for the foul. He's a little frustrated with himself. And picking up a cheapie. They're in the 1-and-1. Have to check who the foul was on momentarily. Against Super Tuesday presented by Progressive will take us to the SEC. Kentucky and Ole Miss tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern time. And beg your pardon, been corrected on the foul call. Tyree did get caught up in the collision, but the foul was called on Bobby Klintman. That'll be his second. I beg your pardon, it's his first. I'll get it straight in a minute. We've got fouls going back and forth everywhere.
You know, Klintman's got to raise his hand and take that one. Can't let Appleby have that.
Remember when they used to do that?
Yes, I do.
It made you raise. Did you have to raise your hand?
Never raised my hand.
Good for you. Gotta stand up to this power-hungry referees trying to make you raise your hand for public scorning. And Jaden Shute picks up his first foul, and all of a sudden, the whistles have gotten a little loose here.
You get 2 whistles on that. The lead and the trail had a whistle on that one.
Crazy's reminding Cameron Hildreth that he failed to touch iron in an earlier attempt. Didn't touch iron then either, but this one he put in the bottom of the net. Cam's got 3. He had 16 in the first meeting between these two.
You got to enjoy watching Cameron Hildreth play as well. What a competitor. I mean, he plays hard every possession.
He's one of the more improved players in the ACC. His scoring's up about 9 points per game from last year. He's doubled his rebound total. Now, some of that's product of that he's playing a lot more, but he's also shown a great deal of improvement.
1-3-1 zone. A little switch by Steve Forbes here heading to the break. It's a 2-point Duke lead. Under 4 minutes to play in the first.
Good for
No
you.
conscience. Shoot it every time you touch it.
You should. Do you remember the name? There was a coach at Troy named Don Maestri, and this was back when everybody read newspapers. And at basketball camps, he used to tell the campers, shoot the ball, get your name in the paper.
No, I passed it. I'm the best non-stat starter in NC State basketball history. Are you kidding me?
Roach again. Speaking of stats, he's putting up gargantuan ones. 15 on 6 of 8 shooting here in the first half. What a night for Jeremy Roach.
Oh, Cameron Hildreth's gonna back that down. Look at Ryan Young ready to help. They worked on doubling Hildreth today in shoot around.
Pretty good catch by Williamson. Shot clock at 6. Here's Hildreth with 2 fouls, and he gets in the lane and scores.
So I'm expecting Duke's going to run something on this end of the floor for Shoot. Because if you're going to leave him on the floor, and we know that John Shire wanted to get some minutes for him and wanted to get him involved, you're going to see Hildreth take advantage of him on the defensive end. So you might as well find a bucket for him.
Well, I can't read Shire's mind, but Jalen Blakes is waiting at the scorer's table, so he might want to hurry. Bradford is guarding Ryan Young. And the foul is called on the big fella. It's his second. And Blake's returns for Shoot. Now, Shire told us today as he tries to work that rotation, maybe find a little bit more perimeter shooting, although Duke has shot it better here than it has on the road. And he was going to get Shoot in the first half.
Well, one of the things he also told us is they were sharing the ball better in the last 3 games. On the season, Duke averages 57% of their baskets assisted. In the last 3, 68%. That is a very high number. That means you're really taking quality shots, you're moving the basketball, and you're also getting to the offensive glass off that.
And a whole lot of that is the continued growth and development of Tyrese Proctor, is it not?
100%. And the other thing is, you know, we mentioned the 8 assists and the 0 turnovers against Georgia Tech. When Coach Shire goes back and watches film, there were really 14 assists because he calls them potential assists. Proctor does his job, they miss a layup. Proctor does his job, they miss a dunk. Those count when the coach goes back and watches film.
Appleby creating, just rolled across the basket and refused to go. Roach working off the double, and Appleby got a foot on it to keep Filipowski from potentially lining one up. Not back to that zone right now. See when they try to spring it on him again. Roach has it blocked away, but it'll be goaltending. And now Jeremy Roach has 17 points. Season high of 22 earlier against Iowa. That is well within reach.
Hits the glass first.
At 22, not only the season high, but the career high. Shire wanted him to be aggressive. Feels like that as much as anything else can help open up this offense. Jalen Blakes is called for the foul, though he's complaining that he was locked down himself. And Shire backing up his player, telling him he's grabbing him.
You're not going to mess with John Gaffney out there.
All our officials tonight. How many coaches do you think are really scared of John Gaffney? Appleby, his second free throw of the evening. Both have been good. He has 11 here in the first half. You might notice Appleby's surname is that of a noted restaurant chain, and the crazies are chanting that they want the competitor. It's not necessarily feeling good in that neighborhood. And here is the 1-3-1 zone from Wake Forest again. Filipowski muscling his way in, and the follow and one from Ryan Young.
When you go back and look at Wake Forest, they played 3 possessions of 1-3-1 against the Wolfpack, but it came late in the game. What Steve Forbes is trying to do is change the rhythm of the game here. That's why you change defense. But you go to the zone, you have to make sure you can block out.
Young completes the 3-point play. He's got 5. Graduate transfer from Northwestern, who had 10 points, 9 rebounds in the first meeting. Played a little bit more because Lively missed that game with illness. Now Wake Forest trying not to let this one get away right before halftime. Under 90 seconds to go, Blue Devils with a 7-point lead in the ball.
Roach off that drag screen, so good.
Big Bradford playing with 3 fouls.
I mean, Jeremy Roach has basically had any shot he's wanted tonight.
Mitchell gets a hand on it and gets the steal. On the push. And Roach will settle everything down.
Yeah, 2 for 1 here.
And another whistle inside. And they called it a 3-second violation. Boy, that's a rarity. That's almost like a unicorn. 3-second violation called. What else are you going to see from Cameron Indoor on a Tuesday night? Final 49.8 of the first half. And a couple guys having big first halves, Tyree Appleby and Jeremy Roach. Now, what's Steve Forbes going to do here with the ball 49.8 in the first half?
I think this is a great timeout, right? Because he knows he can get 2 for 1 right here, and every possession matters. So I'm looking for a quick downhill Tyree Appleby and maybe a kick to Monsanto for a 3. Filipowski is on Clinton. Mitchell is on Monsanto.
There it is. Monsanto lines it up. That one hit the net. Unfortunately for DeMar, he just didn't go over the top of the rim first. Forest will get it another shot at it. About a 9-second differential. Shot clock, game clock. Duke 7-point lead in the ball. Filipowski drives. Hit is blocked by Bradford. Monsanto had it knocked away, and maybe they won't get that shot. In fact, they probably won't. John Shire calling out to take the final shot of the first half.
Is there an over and back there? Is that what the officials are looking at? I mean, you can't stop the clock for that unless there's a clock issue. The Wake Forest bench was adamant that it might have been a kick or an over and back.
Yeah. We'll have a look at what they're seeing momentarily. Jeff Anderson, Ron Groover, John Gaffney, our officials.
So the ball never hits the rim. Oh, that's it.
Okay, all right, there you go.
So we're going to look at a timing issue here. And possession.
Yeah, that's what I thought live, is that he had possession, had it knocked away. Can we have another look at that to say, well, put 9.7 on the clock.
It might be going with shot clock violation.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. No, I guess he didn't really have possession. I thought he had a little better hold on it than he did.
That's it. Get the time right. Shot clock possession or shot clock violation.
So they got 2 for 1 the hard way. If in fact they get the shot off.
I'm still thinking Monsanto.
Of course, hoping to go in on a high note. Monsanto rims out. Rebound Mitchell. 1 second left. And that's how we'll go to the half. As Duke finishes the first half on a 16-8 run, and baskets suddenly became hard to come by for the Demon Deacons. 23 straight times they've beaten Wake Forest and Cameron Indoor. And we for 22 out of 20.
End of what the Blue Devils want to do in the first half.
It's the best offensive half of basketball in Jeremy Roach's career, and he's only 5 points away from a career high. 22 points scored against Iowa this year. Wake Forest closed the first half without a field goal in the final 3 minutes, and the Demon Deacons have it to start the second half.
Steve Forbes staying with that smaller lineup. Andrew Carr at the 5 position.
Appleby whipped it to Hildreth. Duke making it tough. Shot clock at 5. Hildreth wheels into the lane. Carr got a finger on it, but Duke will make it a 1-shot and out.
I mean, that's Cameron Hildreth's game, 6'4", and he's taking on Kyle Filipowski at 7 foot off the bounce into the paint.
Mark Mitchell, we talked at halftime, you and I did, about how active he was in the first half. Stats didn't indicate it. Had 4 rebounds as Duke doubled up Wake Forest in rebounding. And Mitchell has another rebound there. Monsanto's shooting woes tonight continue.
Yeah, 1 for 8. He's not going to lose his confidence, though, Reese. He's going to keep shooting because he knows his role is very important to this team if they're going to have success in here.
Roach. This is his first shot of the second half. He didn't miss many in the first half. It's 7 of 10 from the floor for those 17 points. Carr, the transfer from Delaware. Monsanto tries one from inside the arc. And Damari just really continues to struggle now, 1 of 9.
He's asking to come out.
Tyrese Proctor into the paint. He draws the foul. Foul is called on Davian Williamson. That's his first.
Yeah, Damari looks like he's not 100%. Looked a little slow getting back in transition. He asked twice to come out. He wasn't paying attention, and Proctor was driving right at him. He needed to be in help position.
Proctor makes the first. Bobby Clintman, the freshman, had a good first half. Returns. And now they're looking at Monsanto, and if Wake Forest is going to stay within striking distance, it would be nice to have him, Monsanto, on the floor and healthy. He's a guy who can score in bunches and score quickly. Proctor makes both of them. He now has 7, and Duke has its largest lead at 9. Working on that shin, the left shin of Monsanto. I'm not sure if it cramped up or he got clipped. Carr for 3. Hit the top. Wouldn't have counted if it had gone, and Wake Forest has now missed its last 8 shot attempts. Oh, great camera work there as we see what happened to Monsanto in the pull-up. You just saw it. Shin shiver a little bit, and they were working on that over on the bench. Hopefully he'll be back in there soon. Filipowski puts one up.
Man, I'm looking for that half hook right there for Filipowski. He's already done the work to get that deep in the paint.
Oh, Clintman couldn't get it over the top of the trees, and here come the Blue Devils. Proctor, Filipowski thought about it.
I mean, you're going all the way to the rim against 2 7-footers, and they're both really good shot blockers.
Mitchell step back behind the arc. Over the top is Lively as Appleby was giving up a foot or so.
Yes. I mean, Mitchell has to look inside there. Appleby is stuck on the post with Lively's trying to sit on his legs in front. Look at the size differential.
Well, Appleby did his job. The foul was called on Clintman, who reached in. It's his second foul. I always used to tell you, it doesn't matter about the size, just block them out. I'm not sure they had in mind 5'11" against 7'1". Mitchell offensive rebound. Duke is dominating on the glass. Another opportunity, perhaps. Knocked out of bounds, and he'll stay with the Blue Devils.
I mean, we mentioned the activity level of Mark Mitchell at 6'8". He's not just rebounding balls over his head, he's rebounding out of his area. He's pursuing. That's hard to check on the glass.
Quickly to Proctor from the corner.
And Wake Forest worked on that in shoot-around today, knowing that that was the play when Proctor inbounded it.
A 12-point lead. Proctor has 9, and Wake Forest is in a massive drought, and they need a bucket quickly, and Appleby's the guy who delivers. (46-36). Boy, did Wake Forest need that. Roach trying to answer. He leaves it short. Hildreth will chase it down in the corner. For the moment, Wake Forest has averted disaster. Williamson for 3. Offensive rebound by Carr. He'll try to go over the top of Mitchell. It won't go.
Good job by Mitchell holding his ground. I mean, Williamson's got to knock down that triple, right?
Had a clean look at it. He's had some back issues this year that on and off in recent games has limited some minutes for him. Proctor swinging and Lively to finish. Crazy's just starting to get warmed up. Long way to go here, but you know who's coming in Saturday, don't you? Blue Devils trying to get into another look at the play that sent the Crazies bananas. How about this move before and the high handoff to Lively from Proctor?
Well, it's a great leave by Proctor. And he was weaving in and out of the Wake Forest defense. And that's what Lively does.
You know, that's listed in the box score so far as Proctor's only assist of the night. If you're going to have one, might as well be like that. Lively now has 7 points. Wake Forest needs to get somebody some help. Or Tyree Appleby. He is at 5 of 11 from the floor. The rest of the team 7 of 27, 7 of 28.
You know, the plan was to put Lively in ball screen defense, and Carr has a great look and doesn't knock it down. Lively's doing a really good job of keeping players in front and contesting.
Monsanto has returned to the game.
Because while you're trying to pull him away from the bucket, Reese, Duke wants him in drop coverage. Because of that, they want him around the rim in drop coverage to protect inside. Because he can do that, block shots.
12-point lead for the Blue Devils in the Duke-North Carolina rivalry. And also, the two teams are unranked. Now, it's happened 3 times since 2020, but prior to that, go back to when the ACC started, was founded in the early 50s. It had only happened 3 times before. And still, to speak to the magnitude of that rivalry, it doesn't really diminish it because both of the teams still obviously have great opportunities and aspirations for March, but more than that, the rivalry, as a wise man once said, always seems to deliver. Memorable moments, ranked or unranked.
Is that wise man Jay Billis?
And he is the one who first coined the phrase, I believe.
You know what? The series is 50-50. They've played 100 times. North Carolina's won 4 in a row. I mean, they came in here last year and won in Cameron, 94-81 on Coach K's last home game.
That was such a thick, emotional night.
Yes.
And North Carolina came in and played brilliantly that night. And really, you know, they've won a couple games before that, but that was the one I feel like it really sparked their run that carried them all the way to the national championship game and another victory over Duke along the way in the Final Four.
North Carolina had 4 players that scored 20 points that night in this building. We were both here. It was phenomenal. It was amazing, this environment. It'll be amazing on Saturday.
I want to let it escape our notice that that last bucket from Tyree Appleby found some friendly nighttime banking hours here in Durham.
And Monsanto is back, and
1 for 10. Appleby's tried to carry this team offensively. Klentman with the turnover. He'll back it out. Filipowski had it in mind to pick his pocket. Here comes Appleby again. Oh, acrobatic. A little too much, but Tyree gets it back. Now let's keep an eye on the shot clock.
He's got Filipowski on him. There's a switch.
Appleby, dish. Give it inside and swatted away by Lively's Carr. Couldn't go over the top. Here's Mitchell on the drive. Draws contact. It's a block and 1.
Mark Mitchell might not be on the top of the scouting report for Duke, but boy, you got to plan for him because his activity level is exactly. He's a change of pace. He's a burst of speed. He's long and athletic. That's an aggressive finish with contact.
Lefty, a highly rated player coming out of high school, has 7 rebounds tonight. He now adds his 5th point of the evening, and Duke has extended its lead to 13. Wake Forest desperate for offense from somebody. Can it be Carr? Cannot. Mitchell, another rebound.
Wake as a team 5 for 20 from the 3-point line tonight.
And it's not a recipe for success when you're getting worked pretty good on the boards too. Proctor penetrating again. Tried for that lob. This time Wake Forest all over it. Appleby has Hildreth if he wants it. And Hildreth, a much-needed 3-ball for Steve Forbes' team. Cam now has 9. Back to a 10-point game. Wake Forest teetering on the ropes, taking a lot of punches, but they've yet to buckle.
Well, if you can get 3 stops in a row and you can get 3 scores, you're right back in it, right? I mean, that's what you got to be thinking. That's your mentality right here. Go hard. You're going to get another break at the next media timeout.
Filipowski bullies his way inside. Crazies with a little rhythmic bouncing, rattling the bleachers. And there's a whistle. I think they're going to get Proctor for a foul. That's his 3rd. Thursday night, 10:30 Eastern Time, Oregon and Arizona Arizona ranked 5th in the country. You had to pick a team from the West. The best chance to make a run. Would you go with Arizona or you still sticking with UCLA?
I'm sticking with UCLA.
Carr working on Lively. He draws the foul. You can see the Ducks and the Wildcats Thursday night, 10:30 Eastern time.
I like Mick Cronin. I like the approach to the game. I love the skill set, the guard play. Tiger Campbell is tough. He's like Tyree Appleby. I mean, they're very similar.
Right.
And Jeremy Roach, very similar.
As Andrew Carr goes to the free throw line, well, that Cam Hilbert bucket was much needed. Appleby he's done the majority of the work offensively. Wake Forest has 14 field goals on the night. Tyree has 6 of them.
When we spoke with Appleby this morning, he was excited about being in this environment. He's having a little chat with Ryan Young. I mean, he knew it was going to be fun. He knew, he had heard how exciting it was to be a part of playing in this environment. He's delivered on it.
Carr hits a couple of free throws. And it's a 10-point lead. Headed toward the 12-minute mark to play here in Cameron. Young avoided the temptation to give the hip check and pays it off with a layup.
That is a deep double bury, 2 feet in the paint, 2 points. Ryan Young.
Graduate transfer from Northwestern. You have a couple of veteran guys to supplement these star freshmen. Granderson came over from Illinois in the first half, and Young's giving them good minutes off the bench tonight as well. Now Carr's got a size advantage, but he put it down low, and Blake's reached in there, but he got a piece of the arm. Jalen Blake's called for the foul. The under-12 media timeout, and the Blue Devils are up by 12. Demon Deacs trying to hang on. Between the two, here John Shire's team stretched it out to a 12-point lead. During the break, the officials went over and had a look at a shot Tyree Appleby made, and they left it as it was, a 2-ball. And look how Duke has played, hitting 5 of its last 7 shots to try to build this lead. Le'Veon Bradford back into the game, big number 20. Provided a physical presence, picked up 3 fouls in the first half. This is what Hildreth does. He finds Bradford. See if Bradford can get the shot up. He cannot. Now the shot clock is at 3. Appleby gets fouled on the way up.
What a smart play. Time and score. Appleby. Late clock.
Foul is called on Jeremy Roach, his second. Roach, who had 17 in the first half, is yet to score here in the second. And we're going to give Tyree Appleby a chance to go to the free throw line, where Wake has hit. Haven't shot it well from 3. And they've been perfect from the free throw line at 9 for 9.
Are they checking to make sure he was behind the arc?
I would imagine so. I think when he went to the free throw line, I saw John Gaffney signal it would be 3 free throws, but again, he was right on the edge, much like the shot that they checked during the break. When, as we looked at the replay, it looked as if, yeah, that's going to be a 2. That's an easy one. The other one was far more difficult. There's just a sliver of daylight, it appeared, but they didn't overturn their initial ruling on the court on that earlier one. And this one, they have confirmed it'll be 2 free throws for Tyree Appleby.
It's a good job by the officials. Got to get it right.
Both teams have shot it well from the stripe. Now Forbes' team is scratched and clawed at, you know, look, you have Monsanto and Carr being a combined 2 for 17, and you're getting crushed on the boards. You're only down now 11. I mean, certainly could be, it's not great, but it certainly could be worse.
Well, I think Coach Forbes went with that smaller lineup for as long as he could, and then here in the second half, now he's going back to the adjustment with Carr at the 4 and Bradford playing the 5.
Appleby has now matched his output in the first game against Duke, the one that Wake Forest won by 11. They're down by 10 here, 18 points. Roach looking for his first points in the second half. They have to get out of there soon, and Jeremy turns it over.
Good defense by Wake.
Hildreth goes in, and now Roach will compound the problem by getting the blocking call against him. It's his 3rd.
And you know Hildreth is a hard driver. Roach looks like he's holding his hand.
Holding that right hand, it looks like. We'll keep an eye down at the end of the Duke bench and see if he shakes it off or if they have to attend to it. Jalen Blake's back into the game. Carr gets it right at the basket. Good cover up by Filipowski and by Young, and Carr scored anyway. Back to a single-digit game. Wake just won't go down. Anderson is checked in as well for the Blue Devils. He's got the ball, fires a three. And Wake Forest with the rebound. Here comes Appleby. Tyree turns the corner, kicks it out. Three ball on the way, and it won't go, but a rebound by Bradford and new life for the Demon Deacons. Big collision there on the side, no call. Carr tries to keep it alive. And there'll be a foul called underneath.
Well, Wake's got a little life right here. They've gone on D and gotten some stops. I mean, Carr's got to keep shooting, Reese. I mean, he's open. He's capable of making it. You got to believe the next one's going to go in. I always say this, you don't have enough time in college basketball to lose your confidence. If you put the reps in and you're taking shots that you practice at game speed, you have to keep shooting them. And in the meantime, keep making the game easier for your teammates. Set some screens, get some rebounds, cut hard.
That foul was on Filipowski, his third, and the Duke staff working on Jeremy Roach's right wrist. Free throws are good, and just when it looked like Wake was about to get knocked out, it's a 6-point game. Lively and Mitchell have returned from the Blue Devils. Grandison to Mitchell, good look, and he get it up. Mark goes up strong, and Bradford causes the jump ball at the top.
It's a big play by Bradford. It's a great basket cut, but Wake does a good job of collapsing inside. I don't know how that pass got past Hildreth.
The possession arrow is with Duke. They'll keep it, and Roach has returned to the floor for Duke. Proctor for three. $15 for Tyrese Proctor, and the freshman really starting to find his game in recent weeks. Guarding Monsanto. Appleby for three. No good. Lively cleans it out of there.
What a great job by Roach defensively on that twist action by Wake Forest. Bradford switches the screening angle. It's a twist action, but Lively's in drop coverage.
Filipowski's return for Duke. He goes by Carr, uses the left hand, and it just touched every bit of the orange, but wouldn't go in.
See, Monsanto's got to get hot if Wake's going to really make a run here.
Step back, keep firing. Monsanto, no. 1 of 11. A little bit of a head hang from number 30 from Wake Forest now.
Right.
Can't have that.
Can't have that kind of body language right now.
They're still in the game, 58-49. Tyrese Proctor's been outstanding. He scored 10 points here in the second half. So you got Roach in the first half, Proctor in the second, and Wake has sort of kept it together with duct tape and baling wire a little bit to try to stay in this game. So far, Duke's been able to hold off the charges.
Well, one of the reasons why Wake Forest has stayed in the game is they've made all their free throws. They're 13 for 13, but they've only turned the ball over 4 times. So Duke has not been able to generate off their defense in that way. Offensive rebounding, they're staying with Duke on the offensive glass. Duke has 8 offensive rebounds. Wake Forest has 7.
Blue Devil men hoping to get back into the rankings in the not-too-distant future. Carol Lawson's Duke women ranked 16th in the country. Thursday night on the ACC network, they will take on Pittsburgh. Panthers looking for their first conference win. Blue Devils trying to bounce back after losing to Florida State on Sunday. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday.
Duke women tied at the top of the ACC with Notre Dame, and they got hammered against Florida State. Brooke Wyckoff's team did a great job. Tonight, Latson's a player for Florida State, just so you know, keep your eye on.
Coming down the stretch, not too far away from tournament time. Roach trying to get his first points in the second half. He does, and the Blue Devil lead is 11. Wake has hit just 4 of 21 from the floor here in the second half.
Switch, Filipowski's on Appleby.
Carr cut off by Lively. Guys just skip it to the corner and instead found a couple of guys wide open on the Wake Forest bench. 5th turnover of the night for the Demon Deacons.
When you've got the kind of foot speed that Duke has with their bigs and Lively and Filipowski, you can switch 1 through 4, sometimes 1 through 5, but they really don't like to switch Lively. But he's capable.
He said his #1 job was to protect the rim. He's done a really nice job of that tonight. Filipowski, by his lofty standards, a little bit quiet so far, but still time to finish. Roach, 2 straight buckets, and Jeremy's up to 21. That's just 1 off his career and season high.
When it's winning time or game deciding time for separation, Jeremy Roach wants the ball.
Appleby inside, won't go, and follow and flush from Bradford. Big transfer from Kansas State.
Wonder if Wake's getting a little fatigued.
We'll find out these next few defensive possessions. Maybe timeout is coming. Proctor turns the corner.
Filipowski's got Appleby.
Bradford comes to help. That's excellent defense. Step in there and anticipate that pass by Andrew Carr. 13th turnover for Duke.
Yeah, I think Appleby's fatigued. He's had to carry a lot of the load. He's got his hands on his knees in the corner.
I was going to say, it's not only the shooting, but he's been carrying 300 pounds. Monsanto hasn't been able to get the shot to go, so he takes it to the bucket. And he'll have a chance for a 3-point play. He'll shoot a free throw when you come back. Duke's bundle your home and car insurance at progressive.com. 6:48 to play here in Cameron Indoor. Reese Davis and Debbie Antonelli with you. Duke with a 62-53 lead on Wake Forest. Jeremy Roach has led the way offensively for the Blue Devils with 21 tonight. Backcourt mate Tyrese Proctor with 15. Damari Monsanto, who's really struggled shooting the ball for Wake, is at the free throw line trying to complete a 3-point play and draw the Deacons back to within 8. That last foul on the Monsanto drive was against the Duke big man Derek Lively. He now has 4, and he is resting on the bench with John Shire.
So Wake Forest has taken 25 threes out of their 54 shots. It's almost 50%. They've only made 6. Duke is best in the ACC at guarding the 3-point line. But Reese, it's not how many you make, it's when you make them. They still have a chance here.
Still just an 8-point game in a game that really feels like Duke is largely dominated. And there is Filipowski scoring. He's up to 9. Saw on the screen the 30% that Duke allows from the 3-point line. They've even been better than that tonight. Bobby Kleckman has returned for Wake Forest. Monsanto trying to get one off. Proctor does a great job. And then the turnover. Roach steps in for the steal. He goes in. Can't get it to go. But Proctor is there to clean it up.
What a play by Roach.
Monsanto uses the screen. Proctor just won't give him a sliver of room for oxygen, and that's another turnover. And I think Wake Forest has all the earmarks of starting to run out of gas here.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back turnovers coming off the timeout when you know you get it to 8 points. Off the free throw.
Filipowski, a great bounce pass to Young.
And here's what happens, Reese, when you start to get fatigued. You start running into screens, you can't get over the top, and Duke executes.
Appleby has been terrific and valiant, and he'll go to the free throw line. How about this play from Jeremy Roach? Done it offensively, but here's a defensive anticipation play.
Against an up-the-line overplaying defense, that is a long, flat, lateral pass. And Roach makes it look easy with the steal. What an incredible move.
He has 21 tonight. Appleby stepping to the free throw line. He's 13 of 14 from the lines we've mentioned a couple of times tonight in the first meeting. He's 5 for 5 and now 6 for 6 this evening. If he makes this next one, he'll be up to 20.
What a competitor, right? I mean, he's a little gassed, but he has played really well.
He's been a one-man show for much of the night. And not that Wake, the other guys aren't playing hard. They just had a little trouble finding the range, making enough shots, and Appleby's been fighting to keep them in it. Filipowski trying to deliver a dagger. Appleby, it looks for all the world, and Ryan Young certainly thought that Appleby knocked it out of bounds. Oh, Tyree should have gotten that ball in bounds. And we're going to talk it over here. Oh, no, they're getting up a wet spot on the floor. Tyree is talking to John Shire over there. I don't know that you need the truth serum. I think Appleby might think that he was the last one to touch it. Pretty sure it's what John thinks. Young had a hand on it, too. Moment, let's see who. Tight call goes Wake's way. Might have been a break, but with 4:48 down a dozen, struggling to shoot the ball, you could use one every now and then.
When it comes through the door screen on the top of the floor, that pass was just out of his reach to shoot the three.
Monsanto step back from behind the arc. There it is. Soft touch from Damari Monsanto. Back to single digits. Forbes uses the timeout.
Maybe that'll get Monsanto going. There's time.
Just 3 of 13 from the floor tonight. He leads the ACC in made threes per game. He is one of those shooters who is not particularly bothered by what the previous shots have done, whether they've gone in or out. Super Tuesday presented by Progressive continues. 9 o'clock Eastern time from the SEC. Kentucky going on the road to take on Hotty Toddy. You can see it's also streaming live on the app. They're going to tip that off in just a few minutes on ESPN. Oscar Tshiebwe rolls out of bed, gets a double-double, averaging 16 and nearly 14 rebounds per game. 12 double-doubles, leads the nation.
Very similar to his numbers last year, where he was the Naismith National Player of the Year.
You win an award like that, following year, not only are you held to a higher standard, your team has to deliver. And Kentucky, I thought Kentucky played really well Saturday night in Rupp Arena. We were there for the nightcap version of College Game Day after starting the day at Tennessee. Well, Kentucky played well. Kansas just better than them. Made a few more plays. Jalen Wilson hit some big shots, but Kentucky played well.
Grady Dick made some big plays. Speaking of good freshmen, that we've seen tonight.
We've seen a ton of them here from Duke tonight. Certainly he's one of them. Tyrese Proctor, who has the ball, tied his career high with 17. A couple of highlight reel passes, too. And they'll call Young for the illegal screen.
I mean, that's kind of the break that Wake Forest needed right there. Get the ball back.
Just over 4 minutes to play. It's still just a 9-point game. This has been an unusual game. It's probably largely due to the fact that outside of Appleby, Wake Forest has struggled to find offense from other guys. It feels like Duke has been in complete control, and that pass a little too much for Andrew Carr. And maybe they still are, but Wake, at least by deficit, is still in the game.
I mean, it's a great counter to the door screen action, right? Because Monsanto looks like he's coming through the doors, but he sets the screen, and it's a great backdoor cut. The pass was just out of reach. It's a big swing right there. You get the ball back, then you have an opportunity.
A big defensive possession for Wake Forest, and perhaps an opportunity to drop a demoralizing shot for Duke. Roach. Wake Forest has it again. Just over 3.5 to play. Appleby, Carr, rolls out, and Filipowski with the rebound.
So many great looks for Wake Forest tonight.
That would have put a little game pressure on the Blue Devils had that gone down.
I mean, and who do you trust here late if you're John Shire? I mean, I think Jeremy Roach is the guy, right?
Or 30 in white. And the way he's played tonight, Proctor's a good choice. Bounced around and came out. Wake Forest still with a chance. Appleby, this time it's to Carr, and this time it's on target, and it's a 7-point game.
Here comes that game pressure you're talking about.
11 points for Carr, an assist from Appleby, and now the Crazy's going to get behind their Blue Devils.
Oh, they love that up screen. What a great play. That's a slice play. They worked on that today. What a great call by John Shire.
And with that bucket, Filipowski has a double-double, his 10th of the season. The lead is 9. Trying to shake Monsanto free, but he's 45 feet from the basket. Damari for 3. Got it! Live in the present, Damari Monsanto. Don't worry about what's happened before.
It's not how many you make, it's when you make them.
Pressing on to what lies ahead. It's a 2-possession game inside 2 minutes to go. Here's Jeremy Roach. Shot clock inside 10. Off the screen from Young, looking for help. Filipowski for 3. Wake Forest has the rebound, 90 seconds to play. It's a 6-point game. Appleby driving, scoring, and fouled.
A beautiful drag in the middle of the floor.
The 4th foul on Roach. Appleby's made every free throw he's taken tonight. Makes one when you come back, and we'll have a 1-possession game. And we're having that finish, Kevin, because Wake Forest is on a 12-2 run. They've made 6 of their last 7 shots. What about these plays to get back in it, Debbie?
I mean, look at the way Tyree Appleby pushes up the floor. It's the rebounding and the defense that gets them out in the open floor. Monsanto has been cold all night, but he made a huge 3 there. And this is the and-1 opportunity for Appleby, who got his 2nd win right around the 5 or 6 minute mark.
He's at the free throw line now to try to complete that 3-point play and make it a 1-possession game. Left it on the rim, his first miss of the night, 7 of 8. Duke with the ball in a 4-point lead.
I mean, that slice play worked. They saved it till the end.
Filipowski, the handoff, and I think they're going to call the foul on Appleby. It's his 2nd.
He's trying to beat Roach to the point of contact there on the dribble handoff.
Not yet in the 1-and-1. Only 4 fouls against Wake Forest here in the second half. And while Duke, we've mentioned a couple times that they've controlled the boards overall in the night, thanks to a flurry late here in the second half. In the second half, Wake Forest has out-rebounded the Blue Devils by 1. You mentioned rebounding, defense, some timely shots. He's giving them a puncher's chance in the last minute and 5 seconds.
And the switch back to the big lineup for Steve Forbes, I think that has made a difference.
Well, Roach has had a night.
And that's who you trust here late.
Proctor's been outstanding too, inside a minute to play. Oh, a big screen set by Filipowski on Monsanto. Now Kyle for 3. It's a dagger. How about this big screen? Looks set and clean to me.
It was clean. Filipowski throws it back to Tyrese Proctor, who does a great job. Filipowski, plenty of time to catch and shoot.
That was a good time for his first 3 ball of the night, too. Stretches that lead back to 7. 5 double-doubles in the last 6 games. 3-time reigning ACC Rookie of the Week.
I mean, it's smart, too, because he saw the switch. It's what you call a boomerang pass. You know, you pass it right back because you know you've got an advantage. He didn't have anybody guarding him at the top.
Appleby handoff to Monsanto, and now they're going to call a foul on the handoff against Appleby.
Wow, I thought he was set. You got to be set on the dribble handoff. That's a really tough one to go against Wake at this point in the game.
Well, now 42.6. Forbes, like the blood pressure might be up a little bit on that call, and he's officials shooing the players back out on the court as they try to sneak that free timeout. It'll be Duke basketball, up 7, and Wake Forest in desperate circumstances now.
Still have a foul to give.
Probably go hard for the steal early, not mind if they get it, and they can't get it inbounds, and Mitchell has to use the timeout.
You go hard for the steal, you try to get a trap, you tell the officials that's what we're trying to do, so they're not anticipating that you automatically want the foul. Since you do have one to give, you might be able to get a deflection.
Well, you have to assume that Duke's going to go to the free throw line a bit. They're a good free throw shooting team, and they've shot it well tonight. We take a look at our rewarding performance brought to you by Capital One. Jeremy Roach, largely on the strength of his first half performance, so he hit a couple of clutch shots in the second half. Just went off his career high with 21 tonight.
17 first half points, 9 for 16, a couple of triples, a couple of assists, playing here late with 4.
And with the number of young players that Duke relies on, having Roach, who's your leader, your captain, come out and really set the tone in the first half as he did, was really important if the Blue Devils are indeed able to hang on for this last 42.6, get the victory to set up the match with North Carolina on Saturday.
You know, Reese, I thought last year Duke had trouble with some smaller guards, right? Charlie Moore in Miami, R.J. Davis who's coming in here on Saturday, smaller guard, Kihei Clark, Virginia. And they lost those games in here. Jeremy Roach gives him a chance to play. Appleby had a big night, but he's got the kind of quickness that can stay with him and challenge him. And they're going to need him to do a really good job on R.J. Davis from North Carolina.
All right, 42.6. Let's check in quickly with Kevin Connors.
Yeah, and Reese, want to let you know they're underway right now. Ole Miss, Kentucky over on ESPN News. You'll see it next here on ESPN after we go final.
All right, Kevin Filipowski in the open floor. Kyle has shown that finisher's mentality, making a couple of big buckets late. Monsanto for 3.
I mean, the one thing you couldn't have happen is get beat over the top. It's a great read. John Shire's done a great job calling sets late. Pressure on the ball. Filipowski does a good job.
And we praised Mark Mitchell tonight. He was the one who couldn't get the ball in bounds and called timeout. No fault of his, good defense. But did you notice Jacob Grandison then inbounded the ball, the veteran transfer from Illinois? He hit Filipowski on the run-out pass. Times a little veteran savvy down the gut of games.
I mean, Coach Shire knows that there's a foul to give. Got to cut hard. You got to be strong, and there's always that backdoor over the top option available.
75-66. Duke appears to be in firm control despite repeated surges and efforts from Steve Forbes' team. Barring a miracle rally, they're going to fall for the 4th straight time. They have some work to do if they want to get into NCAA tournament consideration. They've had some tough luck. They've lost some close games. They'll need to turn it around quickly. Monsanto guarded by Mitchell, takes a contested 3. That's no good. Monsanto with a scramble, and let's see what the call is along the baseline. You put 20 on the clock. They're going to give the ball to Wake Forest on the side.
Yeah, I think they had a kicked ball. That's why the clock resets to 20.
Wake Forest not going to be worried about the shot clock, that's for sure. They got to get some shots up quickly. Appleby's going to knife through, lay it in. 7-point game, a quick timeout with 20.5 to go. Reminder, Ole Miss and Kentucky coming up just as soon as we finish. Duke 20.5 away from being able to turn their attention fully to North Carolina. Not that it hasn't fully been on Wake Forest tonight. That's something Shire and all coaches have to emphasize, but you're not human if you don't peek ahead to what's coming up. But it doesn't get much easier after the Tar Heels come in here. You have to go on the road to a good Miami team and on the road to Virginia.
Well, and Virginia has been the hottest team in the league. They've won 6 in a row. Of course, you heard Kevin and the guys in the studio talking about Clemson taking a loss tonight. That's a huge loss for them.
Who is the best team in the ACC right now in your judgment? Is it Virginia?
I think it's Virginia right now, yes. I mean, they're just going about their business, right? Doing what they do and doing it well. Reese Beekman has yet to play his best basketball. Kihei Clark does his thing. I like Virginia. I like the way they defend. Ben Vanderplas has been a great addition.
See the seeds according to Joe Lenardi, our certified bracketologist. Pittsburgh plays North Carolina tomorrow night in Chapel Hill, among the last 4 in.
I love that you always call him certified.
He took the class. He took the course.
He took the course?
He wrote the course too.
And then
created the syllabus, then took it himself, certified himself. Wrote a book about it, in case you didn't know.
I do know.
If you don't remember, it's at the bottom of his daily emails. Joe is
He's great.
Knows the man. He's terrific. I'm told by our producer, Joe McCoy, tonight that Joe Lenardi will be part of the broadcast in the Temple-Houston game on Sunday, I beg your pardon. Houston might have a little something to say to Temple after the Owls clipped him in the earlier meeting. Grandison worked once, throw it ahead to Filipowski again, and Filipowski gets his pocket pick, loose ball on the floor. Guess who's first down there? Mitchell. This Mark Mitchell's not afraid to do some dirty work for a highly touted freshman. This dude plays hard. That is 4 on Bobby Quentman, freshman who I think has shown well for Steve Forbes tonight.
Are those managers on the clock?
They always are. Who are the hardest working people in all of college basketball? The coaches think it's them, but it's actually the managers.
It is the managers. I forgot to check on who won the manager game last night.
Yeah, I know. I didn't check on that either. There's a whole culture surrounding those manager games. A lot of pride goes into those games and also their work. These guys are relentless. Final 11 seconds. Hildreth's going to try to make it a little closer. Quentman lays it in.
Well, every time Wake brought a push, Duke had an answer. I think John Shire's going to be really pleased with this team's growth inside this game, how they battled to hang on. Took a couple punches, but found a way. I thought his play calling late was outstanding.
Depending on your perspective, even if he makes these free throws, might not be quite enough for the victory, but sorry. Gonna be home free no matter what. Appleby knocks down the 3 to make the final margin a single bucket. Close but not quite enough, and Duke wins again. Still haven't lost to Wake Forest inside this building since 1997. 24 in a row. Derek Lively had some great moments, and the Blue Devils now get ready for North Carolina, who will come in on Saturday. Our final score from Durham: Duke beats Wake Forest 75-73. For Debbie Antonelli and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Reese Davis saying good night from Durham, and we send you now to Oxford, Mississippi, Kentucky.